Taking a look at the North Queensland Cowboys, a run to the second week of the finals, but a list profile that's in an interesting space. They've got some quality young talent coming through, but they've got some players that are just starting to approach the twilight period in their career. On paper, they're not that far away, but can they hang on? And obviously the challenges of player retention for the North Queensland Cowboys, always an issue. We'll take a look at 5 potential signings as they look to take at least one more step. North Queensland Cowboys finished with a bit of a flurry. Their season was certainly back-end heavy with the fixture with a lot of home games late and some late buys that meant that the season always looked a little bit worse than it actually was. They ended up making the finals. They probably weren't as dominant as you would have expected them to be at home against the Knights, and then got bundled out pretty quickly in the second week of the finals. But there is a bit of a nucleus there. They played some pretty good football throughout the course of the season. What can they do in terms of their list now to bridge the gap on some of those top 4 sides? They are at an interesting point in terms of their list profile. They've locked away a lot of the guys that they would want to lock away for 2026 and beyond, but they have got some players approaching the twilight period of their career who they are going to have to make calls on and they are going to have to replace in a long-term sense. We'll take a look at 5 potential signings for the fascinating North Queensland Cowboys. Option 1, Will Penisini from the Parramatta Eels. Looking at who is signed and who isn't signed, it's obvious the Cowboys have to focus on their back line, and further to that, a little bit of depth through the forward pack as well. But Penisini is one of those players in terms of some outside run for them that would be a very valuable signing. Some speculation around his future, and he would be one of the top targets that you would look to identify from the Cowboys to address some of those defensive frailties. Option 2, Selwyn Cobbo. Along the same line of thinking as Penisini, they have been quite clear, the Cowboys, in conversations around him, and indicated that he might not be their first port of call when it goes to asking the question, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't ask it in any case. It looks like there would be a salary cap squeeze at the Broncos, and he might be the one who's left on the outer when that all comes to fruition over the next little while. So that does open the door and make him gettable, and he would certainly fill that void, even if, as they've said, not necessarily priority number 1, but could do a job and improve their list. Option 3, Jonah Pizzette from the Melbourne Storm suffered that ACL injury. We've mentioned him in a lot of these. He's going to be highly sought after. The end result might be that he just stays at the Melbourne Storm and squishes all of those potential transfer moves. But if he is to get on the market, then they are one of the sides, the Cowboys, that could offer him a starting position at 6 or 7 immediately, and obviously have him launched back onto the way to the path that it looked like he was going to be on prior to that injury. Certainly looked like he was origin bound and various other accolades that would come with that. So if he is looking not so much for greener pastures, but for more opportunities, maybe a fresh start could come in the north of Queensland. Option 4, Dane Laurie from the Penrith Panthers, a very reliable, hard-working player who doesn't ask too many questions, just gets the job done, puts the head down and works hard, and type of player that you would like to bring in even culturally within your lineup at the Cowboys. He's a utility. He's played some of his best football at full-back, but can certainly do some other things if called upon, and wouldn't be a bad option given obviously Penrith have a lot of superstars that are going to attract a fair chunk of the salary pie. You might be able to pluck someone like him away and bolster your own stocks. Option 5, Harrison Graham from the Dolphins. Well, the Cowboys are in a bit of a battle to re-sign Reece Robson. Under the assumption that he doesn't want to go back to New South Wales and he does stay, they do need to bolster their stocks behind him in a backing sense, which means that it's going to be unlikely that they would prize away a superstar in that role who's going to be an off-the-bench player or someone who's not a starter within your lineup. So getting someone young who's, prepared to bide their time and can provide some relief where needed would be a good option, and he might be someone that they can go after. So that's our thoughts on the Cowboys. Have we picked the right 5? You can comment on this, and also like and subscribe, and just let us know whether you feel that the Cowboys have what it takes to climb the ladder even further after another promising season. You can check out our thoughts on all 17 sides and who they should target, as well as season reviews at zerotackle.com.